Thank you so much for that round of applause, and I take that as at least a beginning vote of confidence. It's not the first time I've heard them describe this position, obviously, but listening to it again this morning, I'm beginning to wonder, can we reconsider, Karen? I mean, that... The
board has spoken.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. This is a great honor, a great privilege, one that I would never have expected and did not expect, but one which I am delighted to accept and that I take on really as God's calling in my life and in Helen's life. I'd like to thank Karen Hollenbeck and the search committee, as well as Jan Asnikar and EFL Associates, for conducting a very professional and thorough search process that was a pleasure to work with. Not easy, but a pleasure. I also want to thank Dr. Carl Shepard and the Board of Trustees for their expression of confidence in asking me to serve as president of this wonderful institution. This is a place I love dearly and have given many years of my life here. One time along the process here, I told Helen, you know, it really feels a little bit like them considering giving the keys to the whole place to the little kid that used to run around the yard playing. And I first started coming to IWU when I was 15, and literally hanging around the yard and playing on the tennis courts and the basketball court and hanging out in the old gym, many of you remember. So it's a great honor and privilege to do this. In 1974, 39 years ago, I met a beautiful young nursing student here at IWU. It only took me 2 years to work up the courage to ask her out. We played a round of miniature golf up on the north side of Marion, and she beat me. The only thing I remember about that night is I really wasn't thinking about miniature golf. Yeah, I was hooked on her company. We've shared an amazing and blessed journey together for 35 years, and I would not be here today without her faith in me, her support for my dreams and aspirations, and her care for our family, her enduring partnership as the godly woman who anchors our home and my life. We enter this new phase of our journey together, and I assure you that she will be the brightest part of your decision to ask me to be president. Would you mind standing, sweetheart? These months of transition have been interesting and challenging for our community. And I'm so thankful for you as an IWU community and the way that you have conducted yourselves during this time. Your faithful pursuit of your work through times of ambiguity and challenge, through some very difficult decisions that we've navigated together over the last few months, has taught me a lot about who you are as individuals and as a community. And I could not be more thankful to serve and be a part of a community like this one. I'm so proud of you, and it will truly be a privilege to serve as your president. I want to thank my colleagues on the cabinet, and especially the management team, for the wonderful teamwork we've enjoyed together over the last few years. I specifically want to speak about the other two amigos. These are men that I have come to love and respect deeply. We work very well together, and I'm humbled to be in this position because I know that either of them could be here and would do a fantastic job as president of this institution. And I want them to know publicly, and I want to tell you, I intend to do everything in my power to keep this team together, to continue to work together because of the way that we complement and work together with each other. So to my colleagues, thank you so much for the times we've done together. Being a candidate for the presidency of a great institution like IWU is an amazing journey of self-discovery. Some things you discover about yourself are encouraging, and some things are bracing. As I've thought about the opportunity to lead this great institution over the last few months, I feel as though God has led me on a journey of understanding who we are and what we might become. and who we really want God to make us into as we move forward through these coming years. You've heard from our board chair and from others about the challenge of this time. We've passed through some hard times that have tested our unity and our strength. As I've thought about where we're headed, I've really prayed for the Lord to show me, what is it that you want to do with us as a community? When I started thinking about what I would want to do as president, I was thinking about very, very specific things. I thought about new innovations, new delivery methodologies, new academic programs, new athletic programs. I thought about new enrollment growth. I thought about new structures. I thought about relationships we might build with others outside our institution. And after thinking about many of these very specific outcomes we could pursue, I began to get the sense that while those were good pursuits, I began to think that I wasn't really thinking about this in the right way. Perhaps there was something different that I needed to think about. We do need to set specific goals, and we need to achieve those together. We need to decide together what those specific goals are that we will achieve. But after I thought about that a while, I thought back over the years and I thought of all of the things we have achieved. And I thought, what difference would it make if we have another 2 or 3 or 5 years of more achievements? I began to ask myself, what's the larger purpose for which we're striving, into which those achievements fit? This led me to ask whether I really have a deeper, more encompassing aspiration for IWU. Is it really just about new growth and new programs? And when I asked this question, the answer really wasn't long in coming. It was there in my heart all the time. I've long believed that IWU is poised to become one of the truly great Christian universities in our world. It's partly why I wanted to come back to work at IWU. I must admit that at first, when I thought about this, I was reluctant to tell this to the committee. Could we really make IWU be one of the truly great Christian universities in our world? That would be mentioned alongside of the names of other great universities? This didn't seem like the time to put forward a vision like that. You've heard the questions. Is this the time when so many question the very validity of higher education and question the value relative to the cost? Is this the time to dream about creating a truly great Christian university? But as I wrestled with that, I thought the times may be challenging, but this is the time to dream. But there was a further step on my journey. As I reflected even more on this aspiration, which I will tell you is in my heart, I began to feel a growing dissatisfaction with even this lofty aspiration. Little by little, the Lord began to remind me of a great truth that is sown into the very fabric of God's creation. Perhaps the greatest expression of this truth is in a story that Jesus told and is recorded in Matthew's Gospel. One day, the mother of two of Jesus' disciples came to him and asked for her sons to occupy places of greatness in Jesus' kingdom. You remember that story? Could one son sit on your right and the other on your left when you come into your kingdom? When the other disciples heard about this, they were incensed, not surprisingly. And Matthew tells us this story in chapter 20. In the words of Matthew, Jesus called them together and said, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. Whoever wants to be great must serve." The way of this world is to become great through great power, through great preeminence, through privilege, through position. The way of our Lord is to become great through great service. This is true for me as president. I'm convinced I must remain Christ-centered. And that means I must come into this role to serve. And I cannot serve you well if I don't listen to you well. So in coming months, I want to spend time listening to you, hearing your dreams, your fears, your concerns, and your aspirations. But this must also be true for us as a community. We must remain Christ-centered. And this means we must listen to and then prepare our students to serve our city, our county, our state, our nation, and our world. Indiana Wesleyan University is a Christ-centered academic community. To be a great Christian university is somehow to enter wholeheartedly with a fanatical commitment to excellence into the intersection of our faith in Christ and our commitment to the educating, mentoring, and scholarly work that is the business of a great university. In time, we will develop very specific shared vision of where IWU will go and what we will become. And someday we may look back 10 years from now and realize that we did become great. But if we set out to be great, we won't achieve it. If we set out to serve, God will put us in a place that others recognize and welcome. I'd like to leave you with some thoughts, and if you'll indulge me a little bit, I have some plans, but I don't want to leave you with specific plans. Instead, I want to leave you with some thoughts the Lord has been giving me about what kind of community I think God is calling us to be. What difference does it make in the world that we're a Christian university? When I think of the kind of service that a great Christian university would offer to the world, I think of these kinds of characteristics that I hope come to characterize us. We'll talk together about structure. We'll talk together about budgets and about money, about programs. We'll talk about facilities, and we'll talk about athletics. We'll talk about residence life. We'll have all those conversations. But I want to begin today in a different place, perhaps not as practical, but maybe more important. I think these are the characteristics for which God raises up Christian universities. You see, we truly believe some fundamental things about the world. We believe there is a thread of grace running through history. And therefore, at Indiana Wesleyan University, we will be a community characterized by Christ-like love for those in our community and those around us. We believe there is a thread of meaning that runs through history. This is not a random, chance-driven event. God has created us, and He has created us for a purpose. And therefore, at Indiana Wesleyan University, we will be a community with purpose. There is a thread of knowledge running through history. Created in the image of God, we are people who by constitution seek learning. And therefore, Indiana Wesleyan University will be a community committed to learning. There's a thread of creativity running through history. To be people created in the image of God is to be people created and endowed with the ability to create. Some of us create beautiful flower beds. Some of us create beautiful gardens. Grace here. Some of us create beautiful buildings. Some of us create beautiful programs. Some of us create beautiful meals. Some of us create beautiful works of art. It's part of what it means to be created in the image of God. So Indiana Wesleyan University will be a community of invention. There's a thread of hope running through history. No matter how bleak or how dark the day, Christians are people who know there is a hope. So Indiana Wesleyan University will be a community of hope. There is a thread of joy running through history. We work hard. Some days it doesn't go well. But we know how to have fun. And I hope Indiana Wesleyan University will be a community that knows how to have fun together. These are challenging days. They're exciting days. They can be frightening days. They are fulfilling days. I like something I read recently that Chuck Swindoll said. We're all faced with a series of great opportunities, brilliantly disguised as impossible situations. This is the genius of great people, great communities, great institutions. They know that real greatness most often comes to us enclosed within a package that at first appears to be an impossible circumstance. In the days ahead, I expect we'll have some challenging ones. We'll have many good ones. I believe we'll have a few days worthy of epic celebrations. And I hope we do that together. I look forward to experiencing all of them with you and to serving as your president. Thank you.